TWAB. TWAB. Oh my god, it's the TWAB. It's the TWAB. Alright, let's read this. Welcome. Well, hold on. Let me mute this. Thought I heard something fall. Alright, let's get right into the TWAB. It says this week at Bungie, we introduced seasonal challenges. Welcome to the second to the last TWAB of the season of the hunt. Many of you have been navigating the secrets of the Harbinger mission, uncovering randomly rolled hawk moons and earning the Radiant Scepter exotic ship. Content-wise, we're coming too close for the season. We're incredibly excited for what's to come. In just a few short weeks, we have been covering some upcoming quality of life changes Destiny 2, like the return of Umbral Ingrams, but it's almost time to take a peek at fresh content. Season of Redacted surely goes live February 2nd. That's actually in a couple days. Where was I? Before we get there, we have a new feature to cover, seasonal challenges, and a round of weapon-focused sandbox changes to walk through. What are they changing? As a warning, this is a pretty large amount of information in a small space. We've joked about meaty TWABs before. That's funny. But this one may feel a bit overwhelming if you rush through it. Let's take a slow step-by-step and get through this together. I'll read the important stuff. Introducing seasonal challenges. Over the last year, we've been looking at ways in which we can reduce the amount of FOMO, which is fear of missing out, in Destiny 2. We recently made some changes to season of how seasonal content is available throughout the year. Now this week we're looking the bounties and bright dust, introducing a new system not only to remove FOMO, to give fresh ways to earn XP and alternate rewards. To walk us through the ins and outs of seasonal changes, we pass the mic to the development team. Development team. During production of Beyond Light, we started looking at problems of bounty fatigue and FOMO, as well as seasonal legibility. What is in the season and how do I engage with it when I log in? Create a few goals which we believe will improve the experience. Provide a guide to new, returning, and veteran players for what to do with this this week. Guide to player seasonal content week over week, encouraging players to engage in complexities and nuances of seasonal activities and rituals. Reduce the penalties on XP and bright dust for missing out on given week. Oh, is there? There's bright dust stuff. What? Oh, dude, that is nice, dude. If they have the current bright dust system with the seasonal bright dust system, and then this, I'm okay with that. To solve these goals, we're introducing a new pursuit type for players. Seasonal challenges live on their own page and access to quest logs or seasonal pass, and we're separated. Let's take a look at this again. So it tells you how many weeks there are. I wonder if it goes to week 10. And you get bright dust for each of them and XP, which I'm assuming gives you a rank up. So let's see. 10, 20, 30, 40, 60. Whoops, not 50. So pretty much equals to rank 100. So if you don't want to do XP bounty grinding, you can just get this straight to 100. That's pretty cool. Here's a quick breakdown of how this feature works. Every week for the first 10 weeks of season between 3 and 10. Season between 3 and 10 new challenges appear automatically for players. Some of the challenges deal with seasonal content. Others push players to complete strikes, Camber and Crucible, to focus on non-activity focused Destiny rituals like gaining power and unlocking seasonal artifact mods, or improving guns and armors. Improving guns and armors. Does that mean that you gotta level your guns up again like they did in D1? As an example, if player doesn't play for 2 weeks, weeks 2 through 4, they can return on week 5 and have all those challenges waiting for them. Oh, okay. So weekly. So this is almost like how I remember Fortnite kind of doing their thing. Weekly. So, for example, let's say you decide not to play from week 1 and you decide to come back week 10. All these challenges will be available to you. But if you play from week 1, you have all these complete, and then you have to wait until next week to get week 2, all of them, week 3, all of them. But they'll let you backtrack to get all your progress. I like that. Completing each challenge rewards XP, contributing to your season pass rank. I'm assuming each one rewards you 1 full rank. Other rewards: bright dust, seasonal currency, or other interesting items. And moving away from weekly bounties, which were restricted to broad objectives tied to ritual activities, we have taken more leeway with creating some interesting or more difficult challenges. These may be things you're already doing or things that you have that test your ability. Some examples include defeating primeval envoys and gambit, defeating enemies in nightfall, the ordeal with seasonal weapons, gaining infamy or valor ranks, acquiring the ritual weapons or its cosmetic ornaments, winning rounds in Trials of Osiris, completing Grandmaster. Okay. With the changes above, wait, hold on, wait. What was that? Did I read this? Not all challenges will require that level of accomplishment, but the harder or longer the challenges, the more experience it rewards. Challenges that focus on the seasonal activity and ritual mostly need the season pass to complete, but most of the ritual focused challenges can be completed without the seasonal pass. Overall, roughly 60% of the seasonal challenges do not require the season pass. I think that's fair. With the changes above, we are removing weekly bounties. Ooh, there is that negative. See, they don't want to give you too much. They want to give you enough, but they don't want to give you too much. They should not have done this at all. I think the weekly bounties should stay there because they give you a decent amount of XP. They give you bright dust, 100 bright dust, because they used to be 200 last season. They reduced it to 100, and they gave you more on the season pass. But overall, if you grinded each week, you actually got more the weekly bounties than the season pass. So this is another negative, man. Like, I think the challenges are cool and all, but the fact that the fact that they are removing weekly bounties is actually a huge negative, in my opinion. I know some people honestly don't care because they don't do it, but for dedicated and hardcore players, they actually do care because that bright dust. I mean, even though they reduced it to 100, it still adds up to a lot later on for just playing, and you kind of get you get your in-game times worth of money, I guess. Well, obviously you're not trading; you're just getting it through cosmetics. So you're basically playing to get cosmetic items that don't really benefit, but it's still, to make your character look flashy. So I'm not really a fan of these. But at least they'll still have repeatable bounties. If you don't know, the repeatable bounties do give you XP. I think it gives like 10,000 XP, and like 10 bright dust. I'm glad those are staying, but I am upset that the weekly bounties are going away. Lastly, most of the challenges disappear after a season they were introduced, and anything that isn't claimed will be lost. We don't add any new challenges after week 10, which we give everyone a few weeks to clean up any challenges they did not finish, any challenges that rewards unique or seasonal items. It's like they're changing one bad habit for another, and I think they should keep both to even it out. But that's just my opinion on that. Any challenges that reward unique or seasonal items, currencies, alert books, seasonal weapons, etc. can be completed as long as the seasonal activity is in the game, but awarded for completing the challenge will only be available during the season it was introduced. Alright, here's the one I'm interested in. Let's talk about Bright Dust. Back before Beyond Light launch, we discussed some of the goals around the changes to Bright Dust. As refresher, we want to change the way you earn Bright Dust and move more towards account specific paths to get players only one character's paths to give players with only one character significantly more Bright Dust they've been earning over last year. In season 13, we've been continuing to move towards these goals to adding Bright Dust onto seasonal. See, they're trying to make it look like a positive. Like, yes, if you are playing one character, this is extremely beneficial for you. You are making more Bright Dust. This is not a lie. You are making more Bright Dust if you have one character. But if you had 3 characters and you're doing your weekly bounties, you're doing your seasonal pass, you got a lot more, which I feel like makes sense. If you play more, you should get more. It's just fairness, you know. It's just like if you, work, you know, a 60-hour week, you should get paid more than some guy that works a 40-hour week, you know? It's just fairness, you know. Time equals, your pay. And that's how I feel, you know. The fact that they're changing it to be like, oh, you play 3 characters, you're spending all this time in the game, but you're not going to get as much as this guy that plays less than you. I think that's kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Since you no longer have to purchase weekly ritual bounties, that's not much of an issue. Each of Strike, Crucible, and Gambit seasonal challenges will reward for between 75 and 300 Bright Dust. Hi, yikes. We are also introducing an end of a season Bright Dust bonus. If you complete nearly all the seasonal challenges, we're awarding a single 4,000 Bright Dust pile. That's nice, but doesn't equal to the amount of time you could be grinding every single week with those bounties. Just saying, but I'm willing to give it a try. I get what they're doing. I do, but we'll move on from that. Additionally, each ritual vendor challenge complete 8 bounties rewards 120 Bright Dust for each character. They said they want to move away from the Bright Dust. They took away the weekly Bright Dust, but yet they're gonna be like complete 8 bounties and you get 120 Bright Dust. So basically, you're minus 60 right here. I'm sorry, I said I was gonna move on, but it's like every time they keep typing something, it gets worse and worse. I'm telling you. And oh, I apologize. I shouldn't get worked up about it, but they're basically saying, well, player game less. All you have to do is just this, and you don't have to worry about it. Just like last time, if you played more, you got rewarded. But whatever. Who completes it each week, and because prompted by the removal of weekly bounties, the only seasonal challenges I'll be awarding Bright Dust are the ones in both seasonal pass. Seasonal challenges, Bright Dust, all players, free seasonal activity 6,000, seasonal extra 4,000, total 10,000. Sure, that's about 10 cosmetic items per season. I take that back. I'm sorry, that's 6. Because some cosmetic items cost like 1,500 or like 1,200 or 1,250 or whatever. So we'll go with it. Season pass, Bright Dust. Oh, you get 500 extra. You spazzing out right now. Why are you spazzing? Wait, hold on. Is it so season? Are these two separate things? Like, is this like 10,000 plus 10,500? So would that be like 20,000 Bright Dust? Really? I'm confused on what this one is. It's 20,000 or it's just 10,000 plus 500 because of the season pass, which would be kind of bogus. But I'm assuming it's 20,000. Weekly ritual vendor challenges, Bright Dust, all players. 120 Bright Dust per ritual vendor per character per week. 1,440 total of completing all required weekly challenges over the course of season 13. Additional, we still plan to offer weekly and repeatable Bright Dust bounties over seasonal events, give a bit more Bright Dust towards desired rewards. As a final note, please be sure to claim all seasonal challenges that reward Bright Dust prior to the end of a season. Once the season ends, associated challenges and their Bright Dust rewards will expire and can no longer be claimed. Okay, even though I made like a massive complaint about like, how they're reducing overall Bright Dust for the real grinders, the only reason why I'm also okay with it is because, like I said, they are, even though I don't think everything should be for the casuals, I think there should be like a mixture of both. The casuals do get more, and they, what's it called? They can buy what? Depending if this is 20,000, not just 10,000, that could be like about 12 cosmetic items, depending on what they want to buy. Because, like I said, price varies depending on what you're looking for. But I'm assuming most people are going for ornaments, sparrows, and ghosts, which are about 1,000 to 1,500 in total. But my thing where I'm willing to give it a little bit of a pass is because when you rank up your season pass after rank 100, I think you get a what's it called? It's called a Bright Ingram. You get a Bright Ingram every 5 to 10 levels, which kind of makes up for it. Like, let's say if you didn't get all the stuff in the previous season, you can eventually get it through the Bright Ingram because I know they have like a duplication process where if you have something, they'll try to give you something you don't have. Obviously, you'll still end up with a duplicate, but they'll try to push for something you don't have. Which eventually, like I said, if you keep playing, you can eventually catch up to everything that's already been out the previous seasons. So I'm willing to give it room there because there is a way to come back with the Bright Dust. So you technically still can get rewarded for playing a lot. It's just a lot of bounty grinding still. Every season we have a collection of changes to the Destiny 2 sandbox. To spice things up, this season we're making some target changes to weapon archetypes that need some love as well. I'm hoping that scout rifles get buffed. As beginning some preparations for crossplay. Ooh, I like that word. I like that word. Dev team in preparation for crossplay coming later this year. I think it's honestly gonna be released around July. I feel like July would be a good time because player base is kind of low during that time. They get to adjust things, tweak things. I have a feeling that midsummer, which is July or June, that's where we're gonna see crossplay coming out. We're making some changes to recoil stats. Yeah, that's gonna be a big issue because if you're playing console, you get more recoil than you have in PC, as a fact. So that's gonna be a big issue. So I'm glad they're addressing that because recoil difference from console to PC is a major difference, and obviously aim assist blah 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 makes up the difference, but honestly it's going to be a difficult balance for sure. It's not an easy fix. Currently several weapon archetypes have their recoil reduced by around 40% dependent on archetype when using mouse and keyboard. This results in issue where players on mouse and keyboard are able to largely ignore the stability weapon stat, creating unintended discrepancies in weapon performance between controller and mouse and keyboard. This is true, but we also have to look at this as a whole. Even though they are correct, there is a significant decrease in stability. For mouse and keyboard. You gotta remember that controller also gets aim assist, which certain weapons, last word, gets a major bonus from. So it's a give and take. I really hope they get this right because depending on what they do, they could screw up. They could really screw up mouse and keyboard for PC players and make controller even more deadly than it already is. So we'll see how that works. The following weapon archetypes will have their mouse and keyboard recoil adjusted to controller. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting. I feel like it should be vice versa. I feel like it should be controller recoil reduced. Wait, hold on. Let me read this again. The following weapon archetypes will have their mouse and keyboard recoil adjusted closer to controller. I still feel like it should be the other way, but that's just my opinion. But I know that they're also trying to get the stats to come up. But we'll see how it works. I'm not gonna say too much about this because it could be good, but we'll see. Auto rifles, scout rifles. That's interesting. I feel like they're fine right now. Pulse rifles, sure, makes sense. Submachine guns, 100%. This is like laser beam. Hand cannons, depending on what the archetype is. Like if I know some hand cannons are definitely laser beams and just like instant hit scans compared to others, but not all of them are that way. Machine guns, sure, I'll say machine guns too. Some machine guns, pulse rifles, and autos definitely have that stability buff, but hand cannons and scout rifles are kind of iffy on that one because sometimes they do get a benefit, sometimes it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Like I said, for example, the last word better controller than it is mouse and keyboard, but that's where the differences come in. It's gonna be, like I said, this right here, this balancing of recoil is not gonna be an easy task. It's gonna be very difficult because there's so many weapons in the game, even though they sunsetted a lot of them. It's gonna be difficult to adjust every single one and get it perfect. I know there's gonna be probably a massive increase in popularity for one archetype and controller, just like there'll be one massive increase on archetype with mouse and keyboard. That's just probably how it's going to be again. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to give it a chance because I really don't know how they're going to play this out. Because like obviously we see everything's typed, but type versus actually putting in game, different story. So I'm willing to wait to give it harsh judgment because, like I said, I really need to see how they do because this is a difficult task to uh, even everything out. In the case of pulse rifles, some machine guns, we will also be introducing some buffs. In some cases, these weapons will have less recoil across both controller and mouse and keyboard input methods compared to what the game in the game today. Some machine guns are largely outclassed by auto rifles at medium range, by the sidearms are at short range, with players' feedback often monitoring how hard they are in control to address this feedback. Reducing the following changes: reduce camera movement while firing from a firing machine. What? I think I understand this, but like I said, I want to see how it plays in the game before I get upset. Pulse rifles with mouse and keyboard changes where kicking is a little too much. I agree. Let's see how this is. Machine guns with mouse and keyboard changes, kicking a little too much. Okay. Reduce camera movement. We'll pay close attention to how these changes play out when they go live. Time to revisit individual archetypes in the future. Update is needed. Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be difficult to adjust everything. So I really want to see how they test this out, and as I really think that Destiny would benefit greatly with the PTR, a playtest realm. I really do. I think a playtest realm should be for people that are dedicated to the game, that actually give feedback, and they play with these changes for like a week or two, see how they like it, and then it goes back to Bungie. They look at the results and they put in the live game. That's what I feel like. I really feel like Destiny really needs a PTR, but they do it. That's up to them. I have no idea, and it needs to be for both console and PC. Like I said, the difference there. For some reason, I read that F is a T. Buffs, rocket launchers have fallen behind other heavy weapons in most measures of effectiveness. We're pushing them more into a burst damage role. Increased rocket damage by 30%? What? Hold on. This dude. This is a big game changer. I know this. I think I read some. Hold on, let me read more. But this rocket increase, I feel like we're gonna go back to Destiny 2 Year 1, where rocket launchers are just super OP versus Callus. Like, got the Eyes of Tomorrow. I feel like the Wardcliff coil is gonna be good again. What's another rocket launcher that was solid? Deathbringer, dude, that could be deadly, especially with Divinity, because I think that also helps it too. You also have Two-Tailed Fox. Truth, maybe. But honestly, Deathbringer and the Eyes of Tomorrow with Divinity, I could see that being extremely deadly. Extremely deadly. So, we'll see how this plays out, but I think rocket launchers might be the next meta for PvE damage with, Eyes of Tomorrow. So grind that out right now. Eyes of Tomorrow, Divinity, I feel like is going to be a meta combo for next season. Exotic rocket launchers have been adjusted individually and are affected by the changes to different degrees. It seems like they're kind of looking at what I was saying, but we'll see how much they're looking at it, because, like I said, depending on how this works, Eyes of Tomorrow and Harbor, what was it called? Deathbringer could be massive damage weapons. Paired with buffs to reversal from this last season, we're hoping you'll explode many more things in season 13. I wonder if that is like hinting towards Dragonfly. Fusion rifles usage is very low, and they feel like an unreliable choice, increasable compared to shotguns. This is true. I actually have a couple good fusion rifles to see how it plays off. Increased fusion rifle damage fall off. Start distance based on range stats. 6% with 0 range, 16% with 100 range. Reduce camera movement from firing with a fusion rifle. I wonder if they're classing fusion rifles both linear and non-linear fusion rifles, or if this is just like, that fusion rifle excluding linear. Breach grenade launcher usage is very low outside mountaintop. Really, part of the reason is that the loop of hold the trigger to arm the release to detonate is challenging to execute. Yes, particularly since projectiles can bounce off of targets. If the trigger is held. Yes. Breach grenade launcher projectiles will now detonate on impact with a character, even if holding the trigger. Dude, this could be a huge. This could be huge, man. Because what's it called? Fighting Lion might be a good Crucible option now. That might be the new mountaintop. Let's see. All sniper rifle usage has dropped in Crucible. We've observed that's hard to challenge someone with a sniper rifle, even if you get the first shot on the enemy. They can often respond and win the fight. Increase ADS flinch to snipers when taking damage from other players. This one is an iffy one to me, because I do agree that there should be some flinch to snipers, but obviously this is going to go to the classic scenario of, oh, his gun doesn't flinch, but mine flinches, like crazy. Because honestly, I've versed people that I shot multiple times and they somehow still pop a headshot off me. And if they hit me, my gun just like kicks all the way to the back of my head. But I think that's just more of me getting upset that I'm getting outplayed. But this will be interesting. I would like to see how this plays out in the Crucible. Swords are extremely dominant in PvE. At this rate, 65% of players are using swords for a majority of gameplay encounters in Destiny 2, while we introduced a buff to rocket launchers to make them a bit more enticing. We feel that if swords do too much damage compared to other weapon options, reduce swords by 15%. I still feel like it's a viable option. I still feel like swords will be a viable option in close quarter scenarios, like, champions and all that stuff. I feel like 15% isn't too much, but I also need to see how this plays in game. But I feel like this sword reduction isn't going to be as bad as it seems. I feel like, a weapon like, what's it called, Lament is still going to be pretty decent. Exotic changes and bug fixes. Some exotic weapons lose their buffs when you switch weapons, which is intended. They would also lose their buff when pulling out your ghost shell, which is not intended. Fix the issues on those weapons. Ace of Spades, Terrible Hawkmoon. That's nice, because Terrible, dude, that one's a nightmare to proc if you're playing Crucible. PvE isn't honestly too bad. Boreas and Hardlight now have a custom quite short animation for switching damage types. Thank God, because it took forever to switch, because you basically have to reload the clip again to switch between all three. I wish there was like, I'm hoping what they do is make an animation for both the guns where it's just like you flick a button. That's it, just a simple flick of a button, and it changes between Arc, Void, and Solar. Reduce minimum damage. Increase damage fall off by. Wait, hold on. Where was I? Duality. Increase damage fall off distance by 1.25 meters. Both firing from the hip and aiming down sights. Reduce maximum buff stacks from 7 to 5. Each stack now grants more of a damage bonus. Extended buff duration slightly. Strum will once again reload any equipped special slot weapon on kills providing special weapons. Clip isn't fully. What? Dude? Oh my god. This is actually. Okay. This is one thing that's going to make me extremely excited. So, I've been a huge fan of the Strum for a very long time, right? I loved it in I loved it in year 1 of D2. I thought I was good with the Dring. Honestly, it was a go-to combo for a long time for me. And right now with the current archetype meta of, what's it called? Was it 110s, 120s? I forgot what it is. The Strum dude is annihilating people. It's a really good weapon. And the fact that it reloads your special, especially if you pick it up. Like, let's say if you use 2 shotgun and then you pick up special, instead of having to switch and reload, it just does it for you. That's awesome. Fix an issue that was preventing Merciless from increasing its charge rate on a non-lethal hit. See, the one I'm interested in is this fusion rifle with the Merciless, because Merciless, if you guys don't know, back in D2 year 1, it was honestly a great weapon to use in PvE, and I'm kind of hoping that it comes back, because so far the Merciless has been it's just been, sidelined, put on the bench for like 3 years already, and I would like to see it come back, because honestly, I really like the Merciless. I think it's a very unique fusion rifle, and I would love to see more play of it. It's just, like I said, the damage wasn't there, and it seems like it's going to get a little better, so I might use the Merciless more often now. And before we go, we're planning to take a quick tuning pass on the ARB list. This won't be ready in time for February 9th, but we're expecting to have this touch later in Season 13. Now we know it can be difficult to understand the scale of buffs and nerfs without having to use changes in your hands, not to mention there'll be some new perks for you to hunt as you start navigating content of Season of the Redacted. As always, we're excited to see these changes out in the wild February 9th, and we're eager to hear your feedback. Crimson Days, each year we look to February. Hold on, let me. Such we have made the decision to discontinue. What? Dude, I loved Crimson Days. I treated Crimson Days like Trials, but 2v2. That's dude, that's sad. Hold on, let me read this. I feel like I need to give this a proper send off. Each year we look to February as a time to celebrate bonds of friendship throughout the community. Guardians have come to know the celebration of Crimson Days as one of our first seasonal events in D1. Yep. I remember the chocolate ghost shell and all that stuff. Tradition that we've carried into D2. While there was great enjoyment of Crimson Days, we feel like it's been missing the mark in terms of quality over the last few years. Yes, it has. It has dropped significantly. There hasn't been as much themed based items. But Crimson Days was awesome, man. I love the 2v2 playlist. I thought it was great. I know I'm not the only one that liked the 2v2 playlist. I think it was really fun. I think a lot of people thought it was fun. Instead of taking it away, why don't they just add upon it? It's not that difficult. You could do a 2v2 PvP thing and a 2v2 PvE activity. They could reuse Infinite Forest. They could reuse the EAZ or EDZ, whatever the heck it's called, whatever from the Days of Summer is. Like there's so many things they could do that doesn't really take much effort. I feel like they can make it fun. As such, we have made a decision to discontinue Crimson Days moving forward. While we miss the event, this move will allow us to maintain focus on alternate season offerings, range from quests to activities. More, we have quite a bit planned of Season of the Redacted, and our hope is that we maintained or even improved the quality you've come to expect from the recent release, upcoming release. Some of you may be asking about the fate of Crimson Doubles. Our once-a-year Crimson Day playlist. This mode is currently being shifted to the Destiny content vault, but may return in the future. That's honestly sad, but it is what it is. Many thanks to Guardians who have joined us over the years for this event. Crimson decorations may not be hung in the tower, but we have no doubts that you'll continue to form Crimson bonds over the years to come. Kind of lame. For those who may be new to the TWAB, welcome to the player support report. This section dedicated to Crucible tokens and fragment quests. Due to the updates to the vendor progression system, Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are no longer needed and will be deprecated. Oh, so it's Crucible. Hold on, I thought it was also Vanguard as well. It's Crucible blah 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 tokens deprecate into junk that will delete as full stacks starting in season 13. Additionally, current stasis fragment quests will be deprecated at the end of season of the hunt. Players are advised to turn in all Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts. Finish our available stasis fragment quests available from 13 starts. Known issues. We will continue to investigate various known issues here in the list of the latest issues that were reported to us in the help forum. Stasis abilities can be difficult to distinguish between enemy and friendly for colorblind players. Double Trouble Triumph is unobtainable. The Deep Storm Crypt Raid augment lockout timer occasionally resets during the final encounter against Tanix. During the final fight against the Sanctified Miner, the Guardian of Salvation Raid, sometimes a shielded tether box can become tethered instead of the corrected glowing tether box. Hunter legs clip through the 10 grasp sword sparrow. In the last Wish Raid, the Shirochi puzzle room plates don't work if a Titan bubble or Warlock wall are placed on them. The Titan phenotype plasticity helm high eye cluster no longer glows red. Weekly and daily elemental kill bounties have stopped rotating off the void. When overcharging grenades while using the Void Walker top trace subclass as a Warlock, Super Energy stops charging. Ooh, that could be a big problem. Glad they fixed that. Here, let's look at the artists of the week. That's kind of cool. Eris. They're gonna make a new landing zone for Europa. Thank God. Hopefully it's on the other side of the map. Honestly, there's a lot in this TWAB. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, some of it I still want to wait and see how it plays out. But I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to the seasonal challenges stuff. I really am curious on how it's going to play out. I am upset about the Bright Dust, the weekly Bright Dust bindings going away, but depending on how these challenges are, I might, might take back my what's it called criticism of it and might enjoy this. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That plays out. But so far, there's some good, there's some bad, like there always is. I'm still optimistic for the future seasons to see what other things are being brought. I'm also extremely looking forward to crossplay. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm still thinking it's going to be a July release of crossplay, but I hope it comes out sooner than that because Destiny really needs it. But on the other hand, I do know that difficult task to balance all the weapons in the game, so I understand if it's even later because, like I said, mouse versus controller. There's definitely a difference in recoil and all that other stuff. So I definitely know it's going to be a difficult task for that. So I'm not going to push them there because I want them to get it right. I still think they need a PTR so they can help test out these changes in these playtest realms instead of putting them to live games so they get a little bit more feedback and they could tweak it better. But that's my opinion. I still like Destiny. I'll still play Destiny. And that's this week of the TWAB.